Good morning, guys. Unfrequented World, and today we are filming on the new Samsung S9 Plus. So I'm using the front-facing camera, which is not the best option, but we are filming with that. We're using self-portrait mode, so it should stay locked on my face. And today we're going to do a bunch of film tests, inside, outside. It's kind of a gray day out, but I want to do some nature filming and just show you guys what this camera is capable of. I've done 3 metal detecting movies with this camera with mixed results. So the first couple of videos I did, guys, I found the focus was going in and out quite a bit on this front camera. And I think the shutter speed, the adjustment on it, the automatic adjustment is very touchy. So if you get into any situation where the light drops, it lowers the shutter speed too much. So I didn't like that effect. But today we're going to put it through all the paces. I'm just going to throw the video together. I can see it going in and out of focus a little bit right there as I'm talking to you guys. I used the S7 Plus for 2 years for all my metal detecting movies. I've made over 200 movies with the S7 and absolutely love the quality. This camera is an improvement, but the focus is a little bit of an issue for me. Let's get at it. Let's get out there, do some filming, and see what it can do. It is a fantastic camera. I do like it. So I'm just filming in the garage right now to show you guys what I would call ambient low light. It's not the greatest for filming. And in here, I do reviews in the garage all the time on things I'm working on, bits and pieces, whatever projects I'm doing. And I've done a couple, and I found that the focus just did not stay locked. So if we move around a little bit, I can just show you guys what it would do in a situation with not great lighting. It's not too bad. It's actually holding focus pretty good. It's out of focus there. What I don't like about this camera is that you can't see any, when you're on the front-facing camera, you can't see any of your settings, your shutter, your aperture, etc. When you flip it around to the reverse camera, this becomes a whole new game. This camera turns into, it has a pro mode, and you can see all of your settings, you can pick all of your settings, and one of the coolest things you can do with it is manual focus, which on the S7, there were a lot of times metal detecting, you want to show people your finds, very close images. It was hard to get it to focus close and stay close. But on this camera, you can manually focus and hold, lock it. So no more problem with that. I'll show you guys that as well. So I'll show you guys a stabilization in 1080. We'll walk around a little bit like this. And it's actually a huge improvement on the S7. We'll step outside into some better lighting. And I'm not going to edit any of this, so if it goes out of focus, it goes out of focus. If you swipe left or right, it automatically flips to the other camera. And if you swipe up or down, you see all your choices on the side of the camera for the different shooting modes that you can pick. So it's very simple. Every time you know which way you're swiping to reverse the camera. And when I do metal detecting movies, I probably switch 200 times a day. So that is going to solve a lot of my frustration. So when we have this camera turned around using the rear camera, one of my favorite new modes is called Pro Mode. And you have all kinds of options. You can set your autofocus versus manual focus, which is a huge one for me. You can pick different tones. You can pick aperture, ISO, shutter speed, all that stuff right at the tips of your fingers. You can change it on the fly. We also have focus peaking, so when you're trying to do manual focus on close-up things, so we can actually use manual focus to pull focus or find focus and lock it on a subject. And for metal detecting, which I do a lot of, close-up shots like this are vital. So I've only made 2 movies with this camera so far, and in the first one I was absolutely disappointed in the focus on the camera. And the second one, I think I filmed a lot of stuff on the rear camera, so I didn't notice as much. Right now, talking to you guys, I'm noticing it a lot. It's going in and out of focus. It's just not giving me that crisp, clear picture that I want. And the reason I'm using the phone is so that I can see what I'm recording. I own $50,000 in video gear, guys, and I'm tired of using all the heavy stuff. When I do metal detecting in my hobby stuff, I want to just grab a phone and see what I'm recording and record it. So that's why I switched to the S7, and that's what I've been using. The S9, I'm not impressed with the focus on this front camera. We're also going to check the quality of the stabilization in the QHD format. I wasn't impressed with it either when I saw it on the big screen the first time. So that's where we're back at right now. And I don't know. Maybe it looks smoother on the small screen and not so good on the computer. There we go with the focus in and out. Okay, so we can also try this. I can record myself on the back camera. I can't see what I'm doing. Am I in there? Probably. Is it focusing on me? Probably, but I don't know. I can't see. The rear camera on this S9 Plus is fantastic, but if you can't use the front camera, if you can't trust it to stay in focus, and I can't find a way to lock manual focus on the front camera, that's annoying. So as we just saw, I reversed the camera and it did not focus on me. And you couldn't see that, so you'd never be able to film even vlog stuff with the camera reversed. If it was like the GoPro where everything is in focus and you don't have to worry about it, maybe, but it's trying too hard to create depth of field is what's going on here. Okay, so I'm absolutely getting frustrated with this thing. It will not lock focus and hold it, and I don't know what's wrong with this thing. After about 20-some seconds of filming, it automatically goes out of focus. I think it's trying to create too much of a background blur. It's doing something weird, trying to give it that big sensor look. I don't care about that. I want the camera to stay in focus. So I've been annoyed with the first couple of videos I made, and I'm annoyed with it again today. So this is what it is, guys, going into this review. It's a little annoying. Okay, so in Pro mode on the rear-facing camera, I switched the aperture to 2.4 instead of f.1. So does that make any difference? Is it actually changing the aperture on this front camera as well? I don't know, because I can't see any settings on this front camera. I think that is making a difference. I think it is staying locked on me a little better. So I guess at this point we could say it's user issues. I don't know. But they should make it simple, and you should be able to see in front mode and in rear mode all of your settings. Right now, when I'm filming, I can't see anything but a stop button, a pause button, and a photo button. And then the timer going at the bottom. So, just doing one last bit of testing because I don't know. and it seems to not show you, before you press the record button, what you're seeing doesn't look like what you're recording. The color was a little different, and it was actually blowing out my face a little bit, and I was a little concerned, but when I pressed record, I guess the aperture shuts down at that point, and I don't know. It's a phone, it's not a real camera, but it is an amazing tool, and it is a step up from the S7. I can tell the clarity when it is in focus. It's in focus. It looks fantastic. I was going to show you guys that we have different options for tones and tints. So I'm on auto white balance, but you can still set whatever tone you like. If you like things to be a little more vibrant, a little warmer, whatever. There's about 8 different options, and then there's 2 at the top that you can set for manual tones. But once you've pressed the record button, you don't have access to those. The only thing I have access to is the auto white balance. So we can change those while filming, but we can't change the tones. So the nice thing is I can set in Pro mode my shutter speed, lock my f2.4 aperture, and I know that I'm not going to need, I'm not going to run into an instance where I'm going to get that really high shutter speed. So there's about as close as you can get, guys. You can do really nice macro shots with the Samsung phones. The S7 was the same. Let's talk sound with this phone, guys. Absolutely records excellent stereo sound. So no complaints there. Amazing sound quality straight out of the phone. Battery life, I find, I've never tested the actual time, but it doesn't seem to be as long as my S7 phone. I mean, both of these phones, for me, I can use for a full day, no problem, not run out of battery. A full day of shooting out in the field, and I'll still have, you know, between 10 and 20% battery left. And that's a 6 to 8 hour metal detecting voyage. So you've got lots of power with the, I always use the Plus versions of the phones because they come with a bit bigger battery. But I think the S9 Plus, the battery's not quite as big as it was in the S7. Either that or it's using more power, because I think there's a little bit of a difference, and I'm between 10 and 15% lower at the end of a day than I used to be with the S7. I'm actually looking at getting the Zhiyun gimbal. I don't know how you pronounce it, but the Smooth 4 gimbal, and I don't know if I'm going to use it enough to justify the $160. $160 is nothing, right? But it's extra gear that you're going to carry around. I'm a tech head. I've got all this gear that sits around at my house. Literally got 50-some lenses. I use 2 of them. You know, do I need another piece of gear? I don't know, guys, but I think I'm going to get one just because there are some cool time-lapse features and things you can do. So I think we're going to get one of these things and try it out. So running this camera in tandem with my new GoPro 6, it just went out of focus again. The quality seems to be comparable to both of them. You can interlace these videos on a timeline and cut between them, and there's not too much of a difference. As long as you're shooting in the same frame rate and resolution. That being said, you cannot cut the audio seamlessly. The audio from the GoPro 6 compared to the S9 Plus, no competition. The S9 Plus audio is much cleaner. The midtones and the highs are much cleaner. The GoPro, as I mentioned in the GoPro review, sounds like I'm talking with a bucket over my head. So no issues here with the S9 and audio. If you guys go back online and you watch, I think it's the 150-year-old lumber camp, and the video after that and the video before that for my metal detecting channel, you'll see this phone in action in the field. There's the one, the Silent Hunt, the one where I didn't talk and everybody gave me this. That's on there as well. So this is my low down dirty first impressions, and I can say overall I really like the phone. The cameras are a huge improvement. The manual controls are a huge improvement, except on the front camera. And other than the focus issue that I'm having here, guys, I really like the setup. So I'll leave you guys with some still images from the camera just to show you, and it is a fantastic still camera. There's no messing around there. It's very straightforward, very simple, a step up from the S7. Can't mess that up. So I'll leave you guys with some still images. Thanks for watching.